All right, my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I got an interesting video for you today. So, somebody in the comments section told me to ask me what I thought about what hardware I unboxed. Their recommendation was between the 4070 Super and the 7900 GRE. So, I wanted to make a video and kind of, seeing as I've got a 4070 Super, I got a 7800 XT, and I have a 7900 XT. I want to give you guys the clearest recommendation that I can. If you are just coming to PC, I personally recommend, and this is my honest recommendation, for anybody that's just coming to PC, that just wants to get in, just wants to play video games, doesn't want to have to focus and really think too much about learning any of the PC stuff. You just want the quickest, easiest, most convenient way to jump in and play PC games. I recommend getting in. If you go like pre-built, whatever you do. I honestly think that you really should aim for 7800 XT. That is a $500 card. It's got enough power to do high refresh rate for 1080p, 1440p, and give you a very decent 4K experience on a significant amount of games. Like we're talking like 80% of games you should be able to play at 4K no problem. Some of the newer games you're gonna have troubles. You're gonna have difficulties. The reason why I recommend the 7800 XT is due to the fact that it does have a good enough amount of VRAM, so you'll be able to, kind of blur the lines when it comes to 4K gaming. It's got a pretty decent amount of power. You're not going to get the best ray tracing experience. Like either way you go. If you go for like a 4070 Super, you're spending extra money for a feature that I mean is usable. I mean it is usable. I've been able to use it on games and play at a decent frame rate. Using upscaling, whatever. It is usable, but I don't think that you should start your PC experience chasing high-end features. And there's a reason for that. There's 100% a reason for that. Like you just, if you're coming from consoles, the main thing you want to do is just close the gap for what you're getting on your consoles and what you expected that you would get on your consoles. And this will make sense to you later down the road. Getting into PC is a little bit more costly up front. Like it really is. But if you get into PC this way, the way that I'm telling you, you go into it in a mid-range card, you get the you get the bare minimum like the 7800 XT. That's going to save you money just on the card purchase alone. But that extra money that you save, because you are going to spend like, anywhere from $1,800 to $2,500 to get into PC. What you're going to want to do, these are the things that you should make sure that you do when you come to PC. You want to make sure you have a good motherboard that has extra slots for SSDs. You want to make sure you have a decent amount of solid state drives. You want to be able to get, extra SSDs, stuff like that, more storage for your games. You want to make sure you have at least 1,000-watt power or PSU. And that's so that when that you'll be able to upgrade. And like your CPU, you want a good CPU. You want to be able to have a CPU that's going to be able to last you multiple generations. It's easy to pull out a GPU and stick a new one in. It's a little bit more complicated to do a CPU, not by a lot, but it is more invasive than just doing a GPU. So you want to, and that's the foundation that I go with the PC. And these are things that I wish I would have known before I jumped right into PC. My first thing was a pre-built. I'm not against pre-builts, and in fact, I do recommend that you either you get a pre-built. You just kind of avoid like the name brands, like the Hewlett Packards or the HPs or the Alienwares or any of that stuff, any of that garbage that has proprietary motherboards, proprietary any pre-built that uses proprietary garbage. Don't do that. You want standard PC parts. And those are going to be like your Skytech or your Corsair, maybe your NZXT. Some of the other brands that you're gonna still be able to find at like a Best Buy pre-built, or go to like a like an online retailer like NZXT or Skytech or any of these people, and then pick out your parts and then have them build them. I would recommend doing it that way. Still, I don't have a problem with pre-builts at all. I don't expect everybody to just watch a bunch of YouTube videos and put together a PC. You want the experience of being able to just plug and play, and that's fine. Like you deserve that. You should have that. You shouldn't be trying to bog yourself down, trying to worry about this and worry about that and worry about having to get in and set up BIOS and any of that kind of stuff. No, you want to be able to hit the ground running, plug in your PC, download your games, and play your games. And it should be that simple. Like it really should. You shouldn't have to worry about anything like that. As time goes on, you'll be able to gain more knowledge. You'll be able to learn things. You'll be able to read, blogs or get on Reddit or watch YouTube videos or something like that. And then maybe you can start to like gain those skills, gain that knowledge while you're playing around with it, because you will be infatuated with PC. Like you will. Like you'll get a PC, you'll start playing your games. You'll start to notice that you are getting exactly what you're paying for. And then you'll be like, okay, I understand things. This is what I bought. This is what I get. This is what I can do to make it better. These are some of the settings I can tone down or do this or whatever, and I can get a much better experience than what I was getting on the console on the consoles. But when it comes to first getting into the PC space, and you want the cost of, I mean, like, yeah, obviously you could just shoot for the top, whatever, and spend thousands of dollars. But then if you download a freaking virus or you do something stupid on there and you ruin something, then you put yourself out a lot of money. I recommend, because once you go PC, you're probably going to stay there, and you're probably going to want to be able to fidget around with things, and you're going to want to play with things, and you're going to want to do stuff after you get to a certain point. Like there will come a time where you're going to want to be more explorative over in the PC experience. So if you go with a lower cost GPU, but you focus more of that money toward making the rest of the components in your PC better, then not next generation. So you get your 7800 XT right now. You pay your $500 for it. 2 years come by, the next, the 88 XT comes out, and then you wait for the 98 XT to come out. And then when you upgrade every other generation, like you'll be like, boom. So by the time, and the reason why I say this is because I think the 7800 XT is going to probably do pretty decent throughout the rest of this generation, of the console generation. I think you'll easily be able to meet and exceed what the PS5 and the Xbox Series X have got with the 7800 XT. You will get a significantly better experience with that card, as long as you've got a better CPU, you've got better RAM, you've got all of that stuff. All of that, as long as all of that's good and you've got that 7800 XT, then when the next generation comes, like the new Xboxes, the new PlayStations, all of that stuff, you will have the next, like it'll be right at that time where the next GPUs will be coming out. So you could, I mean, if the GPU is only $500 next generation for the 8800 XT, then you could think, oh, maybe I get it, maybe I don't. It's going to give me, 7900 XTX power. It's going to give me 4080 super power, which, I mean, let's be frank, you're gaining like maybe 20 frames per second, maybe a little more with those cards compared to what you already have. So I don't necessarily know if that would be a big enough jump, but if you wait 2 generations and the price is still $500-$600, then you've effectively been able to move all of that forward. Your CPU, all of that stuff is still going to be good at the very early days, like the early entry point of that. You get your new GPU, and then then by that time you'll know, hey man, was the AMD experience good? Should I move over to Nvidia? Whatever you want to try, but that way it's going to give you enough time to actually learn and figure out PC. And I just think the Adrenaline software is absolutely incredible. A lot more stuff to get in there and play with. Definitely a lot more user friendly for the AMD experience. It's more gamer friendly. Obviously, you'll start getting more of the features. FSR 3.1 will come out. You'll get more overall. During that time that will be able to enhance your gaming experience, make things a little bit better. So I do kind of feel like AMD is probably the best way to get into PC gaming, and then because I kind of, me personally, I kind of feel like Nvidia is more for that enthusiast level, whereas AMD is more for that just plug and play gamer experience. I don't know why I feel that way, because I mean, you could pretty much do all the same stuff on the Nvidia GPU that you can on the AMD GPU. It just feels a lot more comfortable to play around with things in the AMD software. Like you can get in there and once the time comes, you can start learning how to do like overclocking, undervolting, all of that other stuff right there from the Adrenaline software. You'll be able to get in there and try setting things up and figuring things out. It's probably a little bit easier to figure out how to do that way. From what I hear, AMD cards are a little bit easier to do that stuff. In Nvidia cards, not so much. I do still need to do a little more checking into that before I give you like my final opinion on that. But I don't know, man. For somebody that's been doing PC gaming now for a couple of years and wasn't really super duper impressed when I first started, that all changed when I got the AMD card. It really did. I was like, wow, this is way better than I expected it to be. So I honestly do recommend starting with AMD. That way you know what you're getting yourself into, and then you will, when you do finally decide to buy an Nvidia GPU, it'll either blow your freaking mind because it'll be significantly better, or it will, or you'll have a better understanding that like, look, dude, I get this little bit more for the Nvidia GPU versus what I get with the AMD GPU for less money, that I can continue to put back into my CPU or continue to put back into more storage, because storage is going to be a definite thing that you're going to want more, because you're going to find tons and tons and tons and tons of deals on games on PC that you are going to be able to buy very cheap, so you're going to want more storage. So I do recommend I recommend the 7800 XT, guys. I don't think that the gains on the 7900 GRE or the 4070 Super, in terms of ray tracing or anything else, is going to be worth the extra $50 or even $100, especially when you're new to PC gaming and you just want a better experience than what I mean, like you're essentially just saying like, look, man, I just want to play Hellblade 2 at 60 frames per second. A 7800 XT is probably going to be able to get you that. You'll probably be able to get that. You'll probably be able to still play it on your TV. You'll probably still be able to use like FSR and all of that stuff and still look very, very good. So that's kind of where I look at it. I don't think that anybody should jump into PC at the highest levels. I just think that's a recipe for disaster. And if you come away hating it, then you just threw away a lot of money. But if you come away feeling like, all right, cool, this is something that I can get in, because trust me, trust and believe, once you get into PC, it's not going to end. The FOMO is real, and it does creep up on you pretty fast. That's why I do recommend getting in there a little bit cheaper, so that you can at least feel and see what PC can actually do for you. I recommend going in there at a lower end, because if you can manage to control your FOMO and stay in that mid-range bracket, I just think that's the more cost-effective way, because your 4070 Super is about on par with a 3090. A 3090 was like $1,400, like $2,000 last generation, and now you're getting that for what, $600? Your 7800 XT, you know, obviously these cards are just as powerful as last generation top end cards. So if you really weigh that out and you really think about that, at the end of the day, just waiting a couple years and getting the new mid-range GPUs is going to save you at least $500 to $600. If you upgrade every single generation, you're still getting that power, but you are kind of waiting a little bit. Now, obviously, you're going to have a little bit of cuts. Like you're going to go from like 24 gigs on a 3090 all the way down to 12 gigs on a 4070 Super. Hopefully, Nvidia's next gen cards will have more VRAM, but if they really are going to GDDR7, I don't know if that's going to be the case. That's going to be a little bit more expensive VRAM, so the costs are going to go up for the GPUs, all of that stuff. I don't know, man. It kind of just... I look at like Steam surveys and stuff, and I see everybody on 3060s and like lower end Nvidia GPUs just hoping to just get like a little morsel of that Nvidia flavor, and I'm like, gosh, you guys could have You guys could have spent that money on an AMD card and had a better experience. You could add more. You could have had significantly more, rasterized power. You could have easily been at a better spot for a better experience on off to a better experience on your PC gaming. You could have had more VRAM. You could have had this. You could have had that. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, really, it is a lot down to preference, and there is a lot of, Nvidia is awesome. I've been using this. It's almost 3 weeks now that I've had it in there, and I've been, at first it was kind of a struggle. I had to force myself to get in there and learn things, but it is awesome, guys. Like it is awesome. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you that it's not awesome, but I'm not going to sit here and deny that AMD isn't like AMD is a solid choice. Is a solid choice, and I think that you would be happy. I think that either way, coming to PC, you're going to be blown away. But now I want to talk to the other PC people out there, the ones that have been there, that are either in my same position or that you've been there longer than I have. My friends, I still, to this day, even after the amazing experience that I've had with the 4070 Super Founders Edition, even after this experience, my friends, I still cannot bring myself to think that the Nvidia experience is significantly better than the AMD experience and worth the extra $100 that it costs over a 7800 XT. Like, I still cannot come to that conclusion. I like AMD. AMD made PC gaming significantly better for me. It really did. I was still in an interesting position with that 3080, and AMD solved every single one of those problems and really brought me into the fold and made me feel comfortable as a PC gamer. I like AMD. I think AMD is freaking awesome. The little nooks or the little bumps and whatever else that come along with like these new cards when they first come out, it's fine. It's fine. If you're waiting a little bit longer for upscaling and stuff like that, not a big deal, really. You usually get a better bang for your buck out of that specific price range for the AMD card. So in the majority of my experience with 8 months with AMD, never once did I find myself in a situation where I was like, oh man, if I only had a little bit better DLSS or something like that, I never even thought about DLSS after I moved over to AMD. Like, that's how good the AMD experience was. I didn't care about it because I didn't need it. I was able to run games that I was having to previously use DLSS on. I was able to run those without DLSS, without upscaling. I was actually able to run them at higher resolution and then downsample them to 1440p, which made the image quality look even better. So when I listen to people, always, saying, hey guys, get Nvidia, get Nvidia, get Nvidia, I just, let me be completely honest with you guys. The 4070 Super experience is great, but every time I turn my PC on, only one screen comes on. I have to literally turn on my OLED for all of them to come on. And then sometimes, I get like the black screens that are kind of blinking and stuff. Not a major issue because obviously I just turn my TV on and it goes away. You know what I mean? Or like, I have had more freezing issues with the Nvidia thing, but it's not a big enough thing to be like, oh my gosh, this sucks. It's just a minor annoyance, I'm not going out of my way anymore to blow little things out of proportion. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. I just want you guys to be able to get a good experience from PC gaming. And when it comes down to it, like, I'm perfectly happy either way right now. And that's true. Like, I am perfectly happy either way. The 4070 Super is an amazing card. The 7800 XT is an amazing card. The 7900 XT is an amazing card. The 7600 XT, it's good. I like it. It works just fine when I'm playing games on it. I don't have any issues with it. Like, I can play my games on it, and because I'm still getting good image quality, I'm still getting good gameplay, stuff like that. So I mean, like, obviously there is a place for that card. But yet, like, cost, whatever. I mean, it does start to, you do start to think about like things, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I think 16 gigs of VRAM on 22, 22 terabytes of power or teraflops of power. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is actually not too bad. It runs pretty good. definitely above, you know, what you would get on a console experience. And I'm like, okay, I like that. That's cool. Like I think that people would be happy with this on a 1080p monitor or 1440p monitor. I do think that it is worthwhile. And the 16 gigs of VRAM makes it just a better overall proposition for that price range for me. Because I mean, like, obviously 8 gigs of VRAM is starting to show its age, so 16, doubling that, having more than you need, absolutely not a bad thing. So all right, my friends, yeah, I don't know if I 100% agree with Tom's hardware or with Hardware Unboxed. I mean, he does make good points, good valid points. You know, obviously you got lower power draw on the Nvidia GPU, but not by much. But on the 7900 GRE, you are getting, you know, like what did he say, like 9% or 8% more performance, you know, out of that on like 4K and stuff. So it just really depends on what you need. In my honest opinion, I recommend the 7800 XT. I think that is a solid place to start, or a good place to just play games and enjoy them. Because man, if you get a 4070 Super, here's the thing. Like, this is the big thing, guys. When you get a 4070 Super, and you tell yourself, like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get ray tracing and stuff, and then you find yourself turning it off most of the time, because I do, you know, I still do turn the ray tracing off, you know, a lot of the time, because it's just like, man, it's just not worth the performance hit in some of the games that I want to play. And if you find yourself disabling the ray tracing, and Tom, Hardware Unboxed, he was talking about, you know, like going through like all the list of ray tracing games, and I was like, dude, that's a good idea, man. I would like to see what he thinks about that, because that is a good idea. Because I've played a lot of ray tracing games on the AMD cards, on the 4070 Super, and I'll tell you guys, sometimes, believe it or not, it's absolutely useless, and it completely kills your frame rate. And I think that's one of the things where I was like, with the AMD experience, is like, dang, dude, I'm playing these games and they are awesome. And on the Nvidia card with like the 3080, I was like, dude, I was turning the ray tracing off like all the time, because it just completely killed the frame rate. Obviously, it's a little bit better on the 4070 Super, obviously. But I still find myself thinking, man, I would rather just play this game at over 100 frames a second. Like I would. And, you know, like, I'll tell you what, man, like, most of the time, like, the other day I tried out Hitman for the, on the PC, like Hitman. And I'm like, wow, dude, this ray tracing absolutely looks incredible. It's just beautiful. The way it looks, the way it completely adds to the overall immersion of the experience. I was like, oh my goodness, this looks freaking incredible. And I couldn't contain like the way I was feeling about it. I was like, wow, this looks good. And I was recording a video. I posted the video out, and like, for some reason, I didn't have my sound recording at the same time, so you guys couldn't hear what I was saying. And I was absolutely blown away, because I'd played through that game on the Xbox. I have it on the PlayStation 5. And just seeing that transformative experience with ray tracing, I was like, wow, this looks incredible. But I had to use frame generation and DLSS just to get there. And I'm like, wow, dude, I'm barely at like 90 to 100 frames a second with this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. And then when I turn it off, dude, I'm like maxed out on my screen refresh rate, and I'm like, oh boy. But that is one game that I'm like, yeah, I would prefer the ray tracing experience on that, and still be able to get that 100 FPS. That looked good. That looked incredible. So, all right, my friends, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.